So good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to take a little bit of time to sort of give you a little bit more insight into the first tab of the project management templates that were sent out with Martian Greenhouse. This is the project charter. And so the whole goal of this one sheet is to define what you have created as your project. This is going to be different for all of you, which is why the template is blank. And so I'm just going to walk through top to bottom each section, give you a little context just to sort of help out. The first part obviously is pretty general, your name and your mentor and your team. The reason it's sitting here is it gets you in the habit of writing down those things that are just assumed. Part of the effort is making sure you all communicate clearly, and so that is writing things down. Your next section is your stakeholders. These are the people that are interested in your project. So those folks you're presenting to, those folks that are not your mentors, but maybe some of the extended Martian Greenhouse mentoring team shows up here, could be your parents. Anyone that has a significant interest or is impacted by that project goes here. All right, so now here's the heart of this. Your project scope. What are you doing for your project? What is the purpose? You have a bit of a head start here because it's the Martian Greenhouse. Literally saying grow plants on Mars as your purpose is okay. If you want to add a little more detail as far as we're going to create structures or we're going to grow plants in a certain way, that's fine here as well. Building from your purpose are your objectives. What are your measurable outcomes that you expect to create? Probably this is going to be some design work. Probably this is going to be some presentations. Those kinds of things would be measurable objectives. Could also be things like, I want to be able to feed 10 people. I want to be able to feed 100 people. Those are some of those objectives again. That objective statement starts creating your scope. Two sides to scope. The first is the is column. What is the project dealing with? Plants, soils potentially, water certainly, atmosphere for the plants. Those are is levels of scope. The is not are important as well. It is super easy to do research into your scope or your objectives or your purpose and start following a trail that is not part of your official scope. So as a for instance, solar panel systems can consume a lot of time if you're trying to research those things. If that is part of your is statement of, I want to understand how solar panels work and provide power to my greenhouse, that's great. Or if you're saying, I just want to be able to say my greenhouse needs power, and I'm going to exclude those kinds of things like how big of a solar panel do I need? What kind of a solar panel do I need? If I put that on the is not side, then your project statement is fine with just saying, I need so many watts of power, and you can stop there and not worry about how to deliver those. That's okay. That's why the is not column is, frankly, in my opinion, more important a lot of times in projects. Next section are your deliverables. What are the things you as the team are going to make? What are your products? Things like your final presentation. Guaranteed that's one of your products. Things like research about what you're doing on your is statements. Things like design drawings of those things. All of those are fodder for this section. If you have more than 8, you are certainly welcome to expand this. If you only define 3, that's okay as well. Again, these are not worksheets to fill out every cell. These are your guidance. Next section are your milestones. What are your major dates that you need to start things, stop things? What are you delivering? So if you think back to this section, when those things are due, those become your milestones. The next section is your constraints. Do you have anything that is going to limit your ability to produce milestones, to produce your presentation, to hit any of your deliverables? Those are constraints. May or may not be important here, but certainly I think just an acknowledgement of there are constraints on every project team is important. For Martian Greenhouse, it's likely going to be your end date of when your presentation is due. At least one constraint. Communications, this is how your team is going to talk to each other as well as talk to everybody else, all of your stakeholders. So we are going to meet once a week as a team to have a working session. We're going to meet once a week with our mentor to give a status update. And we're going to meet every day for 5 minutes on Zoom to make sure everybody has all the help they need. Their constraints if they need help for their tasks or otherwise. This bottom section is if you come up with anything else that you feel is important to write down that's not covered somewhere else, it goes there. Okay? So this one sheet should form the basis of your project. So this charter becomes a guiding document that you can refer back to as you continue on. Once you write things down in here, you'll find your thoughts crystallizing along these paths. And if you find a new thought that might impact your scope, might impact one of your deliverables, that's okay. Projects are meant to be iterative. So if you come up with an idea that seems to be exciting to your team, great. Make sure you go back to your charter and revise your statements. The flip side of that is you have to stop idea generation at some point and just get down to making your deliverables. And so that's a balancing act. I can't tell you how to solve that issue for your team. I can just say to be aware of it. Okay. Last thing, if you have any questions about this or any of the other tabs that build on this for action plans, matrices, evaluations, don't worry about those yet. Get your charter filled out. But if you have questions, we're here to help. Reach out to any of us. Your mentors really, really like these topics. That's why we choose to volunteer our time here. So please, please, please use us. Okay? Good luck.